I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
All right, let's switch gears now and talk about the economy. Inflation figures for February are out. I wonder what March would look like. But let's talk about February first, Jeffrey.
Let's bring in Professor Emmanuel Onwodiokit. He's a professor of economics, University of Uyo. Prof, thank you so much for coming on the program. Prof, if you can unmute your device, sir. All right, so the inflation figures are out, easing to 15.06%. We've seen the tapering of inflation since the CPI was rebased from about 25 or 24% all the way to 15%. So good number, significant tapering of the numbers. In fact, as a matter of fact, food inflation went to single digit, just increased slightly with the numbers as far as the inflation numbers are concerned. Prof, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you know, when we talk about inflation, it's almost a recurrent decimal. We try to understand what is playing out. But perhaps I would like you to project into what may be playing out as far as the March inflation is concerned, because the war on Iran started on the big time. It happened on the 28th of February, which was literally the end of the month. So nothing of the global consequence in terms of geopolitics could have affected our inflation number in that sense, besides what happens in the country. But help us make sense of what you think may be playing out right now as we have entered into the month of March, given what is happening in Iran, between the United States, Iran, and Israel.
Thank you very much. It's very clear that the inflation numbers for March is going to taper upward about 2 to 3 percentage points. So we are likely to see an inflation rate that will be very close to 16 or a little above 16% by end of March. Especially if the government continued not to do anything about the cost of living that is spiraling out of control because of the crisis.
Okay, Prof. So let's come back to what is playing out generally. Inflation is something that happens, we get to see every month, 15th of every month, 12 noon, we get to see what the previous month looked like in terms of the changes. But I want you to do a quick assessment of what the management of our resources looks like. As a matter of fact, right now, some countries are thinking about their reserves. Some are using policy tweaks to adjust, to see what they can do with the pump price of petrol or PMS, or some of the things that people use consume in terms of energy. We've seen what's happening in the UK. We've seen what's trying to play out in America and all of these things. So what do you think will be the best response of government now that pump price has gotten to maybe almost 50% in terms of increase? We're doing about 776 or 74 naira per liter. Now we're oscillating around 1,200 to 1,300. A lot of people are groaning under this. But the government said, look, this is a deregulated sector. When it's good, you get it lower. When it's bad, you get it higher. Help us reconcile all of this vis-a-vis the earnings we're getting from now the increase in the price of crude oil.
Well, any government through decisions into the vagaries of the market forces alone, it's not fit to be called government, because all over the world, when there are emergency like this, government intervene, because the purpose of government for the welfare of the citizens. With the increase in oil price, the pump price of petroleum product, you will see the transportation cost has gone up, and the cost of living, the quality of life of the people have deteriorated. So if the government said that they don't exist, because that's what that would mean. If government said, okay, it's the market that is regulating you, and government has become invisible, then that would be very terrible. But we see in other places that the government are actively, like the UK that you mentioned, targeting the vulnerable to ensure that the effect is being cushioned. So for Nigerian government, it's not time to give rice. It's because in Nigeria, everything that is flawed, that is rice, there is no electricity that is rice, they will give rice. It is time to target the transportation and the value chain to ensure that The effect is crucial. In fact, I may even go further to propose that there can be wage award. There can be temporary wage award for the workers, because with minimum wage of 77,000 and the increase in transportation costs, so many people will not even be able to go to work at the current transportation costs. So the government cannot abdicate its responsibility to say it's deregulation, because government is not deregulated. Government is expected to work in order to improve the welfare of the citizen. That is the responsibility of government.
And so I'm wondering if the current challenge has not punctured the administration's social investment program over time. What we have seen is distribution of allowances to households, 25,000 naira, in some cases 75,000 naira. And in recent times, we've seen a lot of, distribution of machines, skills, equipment to entrepreneurs, and we've seen all of that. But none is removed from the aftershocks of the increase in the pump price of petrol. So from where you sit, is the social investment program able to stand the test of time against unforeseen circumstances that we're now experiencing? And what better way is there for the administration to deploy critical resources that will increase wealth rather than fall flat in the face when challenges like what is coming off of the back of the war against Iran happens?
The best thing the government can do for the people is to create the environment of integrating them into the production process, so that they can negotiate their existence. The palliative, the cash transfer, that should not be a permanent feature. It should be something transitional to cushion the effect like where we are having now. But every serious government, everywhere in the world, should be working toward creating conducive environment. In Nigeria, for instance, power, electricity, security, and other infrastructure that will bring down the cost of doing business is what they should focus on, and making sure that those people who are less advantaged are giving skill, not giving rice. If they eat rice, they will go to toilet, they will come back again. And the government should also make sure that the windfall that is arising from this crisis is managed properly. Nigeria has a terrible history of mismanaging the windfall from crises like this. We have experience in the 70s, we have experience 2008, and even 2022. So what I will advise will be that at least 40% is served, because their budget for 2023 was based on, I think, $65 a barrel. The excess should be served. Part of it used to mitigate the current suffering by the people. The other part, central bank should use to stabilize the naira. Because if that happens, it will mitigate against the effect of imported inflation. So that the earnings of Nigerian naira will command more value, because the exchange, the local currency will appreciate marginally, and the exchange by stabilizing.
Right. So stop giving rice. I think you've said that, so it's important to reiterate that. Rice is good, but when you're trying to deal with issues around transportation, energy prices, rice will not necessarily solve that. We've seen the government say, well, we've ordered 100,000 CNG kits, so that should reduce the pressure on petrol and people trying to buy petrol. That's yet to be seen, by the way. It looks like more of a long term, not even a medium term. But time and again, we've had the government come out to posture and say, oh, we feel the pain of the people. We're watching and we're trying to do this and that, asking the governors to ensure that the grassroots get water, in a manner of speaking. What do you think will be the major challenge of this government in, well, let's imagine that they are acting in good faith, in implementing these actions in good faith?
Well, I think any government has given a promise to bring CNG for over 2 years and it's not materializing. If people continue to trust that it will come to pass, now it's on the people. It means they cannot reason. Any government should be next to God. After God, in truthfulness, should be government. Any government that gives fake promises or give promises doesn't intend to keep does not deserve to be government in the modern world. So it's left to the people to decide. If this is how they want to be ruled, people will give promise and nothing will happen. This CNG boys we talked about was since 2023, after the withdrawal of subsidy. We are in 2026. Even if they were manufacturing aeroplane, it would have been ready. It's in 3 years.
All right, Prof. It's an ongoing conversation. The war, we don't see it ending anytime soon. The prayer is it ends, but from what we see, I don't think it's ending anytime soon. So your inputs and your insights will always be needed as far as economic conversation is concerned in Nigeria. Professor Emmanuel Onwodio, coach, the Professor of Economics, University of Uyo. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you, Judge.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll get to the next leg of the conversation. Stay with us.